What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 9 of Park to Prem here with Lincoln City. Today we take on the old enemy, a familiar friend, Boston United. Yes, I've waited to play this team for far too long. They still have a few of our old players as the captain and vice-captain. Dronfield, he's very, very good. He's not done very well in the league, but still the player that he was when we left. And Andy Lyons, remember this guy? Yeah, he's still a bit of a flop, but it's not my flop to worry about anymore, so it's fine. But yes, very excited for today's game, of course, a great opportunity to take on the old enemy. As I mentioned last episode, in real life, Lincoln and Boston haven't played each other in a league match since 2006. So 18 years later, almost a generation later, we meet again finally. I will, of course, hope that it's going to be a happy hunting ground for us today. Anyway, since you were last here, we've played a few games in the league, as well as a game in the EFL Trophy, which no one cares about. Some people have asked, Jack, why do you hate the EFL Trophy? Look, it is an absolutely pointless competition. Let's make no mistake here. It has, like, the under-23 teams of Premier League clubs playing in it. It has this weird group stage format. You have penalties in the group stage for a bonus point. There's lots of reasons to think it's Tim Pot, but we're through in it. I mean, I've now said we beat Notts Forest's under-23s 4-2. Let's just ignore that result. I wasn't going to show you the highlights for it anyway. In the league, though, we have played 2 games, 2 wins, 2 clean sheets as well. Things are looking rather rosy. We got a good little win against Barrow. Sims scored for us inside the first 20 minutes. He is actually going to get the start today. I feel like Sims has earned that opportunity. He's looked very, very good going forward. And Taylor Richards scored from the penalty spot as well in this game, which was great to see. And well, to start the month of October, we took on Northampton. We won 3-0. Of course, Northampton are a club who we have played a few times in live comms, so we got another one over on them today. You can see Ben Cottrell opened up the goal scoring. He's been so good for us. Quansah then with one of my favourite ever Quansah goals in off the crossbar, and then Charlie Carter scored late on in the 75th minute for us. Now Charlie Carter, of course, was one of the new additions that we signed over the summer. He came in from Hull City. Unfortunately, he got injured very, very quickly, but so far he's got 2 goals and 1 assist in the league. He's going to get the nod today as well, because frankly, he's really, really blooming good. And while the latest revelation for the team is, there's green lines appearing everywhere. Lopez and Fitzpatrick, Cottrell and Hughes. These are duos which are becoming iconic with our Lincoln side. Yeah, they really are linking up well. And the whole system change, this pivot to a more possessive, positive style of play has worked really nicely. I feel like gone are the days of 2 strikers. I mean, look at the average ratings. Look how much green there is. We're knocking the ball around really nicely. We're making our superior quality show. Obviously, I'm going to be hoping for one over on Boston United today. Anyway, what I thought would be a nice little thing to do before we get into today's game is to actually look at Boston United. Of course, they won the Vanarama National League last year. That was, of course, after we managed them for the first half of the season. Johnny Howson's come in and he's playing a very unorthodox 5-2-2-1. Can't say it's a particularly iconic formation. Can't say it's a formation I've ever played in Football Manager, which really is saying something. But what you will notice, and this affects us as well, is lots of players out on international duty. And additionally, they've had to not register a load of players. I am very, very unhappy with what's going on here. Adam Liddell has been loaned out to Solihull Moors. Don't get it, don't like it. Akinwande, he's been loaned out as well to Stockport. I don't know if it's to do with the salary cap. I don't think it is. I think it is purely a case of Howson wants to play 1 striker and he's decided to loan in this geezer from Leeds United, cast aside some of the heroes that I forged at Boston United, and just give this guy with the mentals of a chickpea a go up front. Not a fan. Not a fan. In fact, when you look across the team as a whole, there's not actually that many familiar faces. Reece Bennett apparently is only a half-a-star player on this screen. I don't know what's going on there, because when you click on him, it jumps up. But he's sadly injured today. I believe he is considered Boston's key player. And as well as him being injured, I did notice that there's a few players on international duty, which is obviously going to be a bit of a problem, including William Cassidy, who still could be really, really good. I've still not worked out if he's a really good player. Of course, he and Mark Cooper, regulars of the Northern Irish national team. I don't know if he's improved much since we've left. I don't notice a difference with him. He's played 5 games and not played particularly well. And to be fair, Boston, despite the fact they're up in 12th, have not been superb, shall we say. I was looking through some of the team stats just previously prior to hitting start record, and a few of the things that really stood out to me are, firstly, expected goals. We are light years ahead of everyone else. We are creating so much more in the way of opportunities than everyone else. It's crazy how dominant we've been actually in terms of, the chance creation, crosses completed. We have the most crosses completed, and we also have, as you can see here, 104 completed total, which is insane. In terms of pass completion, we have the second best in the league, although it does trail Wigan. Of course, we played them just last episode. But in terms of kind of XGs for and against, it's hard to look past us. 5 goals conceded in 10 games is one of the best defences in the league. Worth noting that Boston United very, very high when it comes to, their number of goals conceded being low. High in the charts, low in goals conceded. English is hard, isn't it? You can actually see here, in terms of expected goals, Boston don't score many. They are kind of crap-housing their way through games. They're getting 1-0 wins when they win, and then narrow defeats when they lose, which I suppose when you play 5 at the back is how things are just going to play out. You can see the highest attendance in the league is Bolton. We have the highest net transfer spend. Yes, I did spend a lot of money again, but we could afford to do it. And in terms of salary per year, we do have the second highest wages in the league. So with all that said, the fact that we are as high as we are in the league right now, is almost to be expected. We should be pushing for that. If we just look at the season preview, we are the favourites to win the league. You can see here, Cumming is in goal, Lopez is at left back, Cottrell as well has broken into the media dream 11 at centre mid. Since he's joined us from Arsenal, he has looked absolutely top drawer, and I feel like that kind of applies to a lot of the team. You can see here, Ellis Sims, 7 goals to his name. Quansah has 4 goals from centre-back, which frankly is just silly. And Gary Garbett, I've been playing him occasionally, rotating him around, sometimes dropping Cons at centre-back to bring in Gary here. And when we've played Gary, he's done very well off set pieces as well. I feel like we're a bit of a set piece machine, but we also play sexy football. It's like if Tony Pulis and Pep Guardiola had a love child, it would be me. We'll make the most of set pieces, but also play this really nice flamboyant style of play. And I think just how dominant we are with the ball and how good we are at creating opportunities is really reflected by the average ratings in the midfielders. There's so many players getting assists. Fitzpatrick has been very good, maybe slightly in the shadow of Cottrell, but in terms of kind of an on-paper comparison, I think you could make a pretty compelling point that Aiden Fitzpatrick is the better player. So far, the 23-year-old playing out on the left-hand side, which is not his natural position, but cutting in on that right foot of his has been really, really solid for us. And really, I could do a singing and a dance about all of the players in our team because it really is that good. So in terms of our team for today's game, a few former Boston United players feature in it. Of course, the obvious one is Quansah at centre-back. Had a trio of exceptional years at Boston. Of course, joined us for 450k. First season in League Two, took a little bit of getting used to things, but now he's looking absolutely top drawer. Of course, the centre-back partnership really hasn't changed this year, but with the new wing-backs coming in, it really feels like it's, I suppose, changed how well Quansah and Cons can perform. They're not having to cover for mistakes made either side of them. They can focus on their duties in the middle. Elsewhere, in terms of starting former Boston players, Callum Green gets the nod. The 18-year-old Scotsman did not play at Boston for very long. Joined them, played for a season, got 23 goals. Joined us for a massive, massive amount of money compared to what he was originally signed for. I just feel like it was absolutely worth it. He has looked very, very solid down the middle. And actually, our 3 attacking midfielders have really allowed Sims or Thomas or whoever else has been playing up front to really shine. Of course, on the bench, Yolo is lurking as well, so more options there in terms of former Boston men. Unfortunately, Marky Cooper is out on international duty, which is a little bit sad, as is Desire Williams. You'll also notice here, Paul Glatzel is injured, sadly, for up to 3 more weeks. He's been out for a longer period of time. His torrid spell at the club really continues, I suppose, with this injury. He's a player who I had such high hopes for. He's just never really got going, which is just sad, really, isn't it? Anyway, one other player that I need to mention, because I've neglected to mention him the last couple of episodes, is Jake Forster-Caskey. I couldn't fit him in the squad that I needed to register. We've loaned him out to Notts County. He has got injured. He's out with only a minor injury, to be fair, but he has this history of injuries. Ideally, I wanted to sell him whilst his value was high, because he was valued very, very highly, but sadly, that wasn't possible. So we've ended up loaning him out to Notts County, division below us, regular first-team football when he's fit. I'm hoping that's putting him in the shop window to potentially ship him on down the line. I feel like history is kind of repeating itself. I'm pretty sure I signed this guy at Towler Town, and this exact thing happened where I thought he'll be a good little centre mid who I can flip on for some money, and then ultimately just fell down the pecking order, got injured, and I just didn't really ever play him. So I'm sorry, Jake. It's nothing personal, but now it's happened twice. You have every right to be suspicious. But anyway, that's the team for today's game. That's a little bit of the squad situation. This is a big game for the fans. I'm giving Sims the kind of backing here, which is kind of big in itself, but he's looked absolutely top draw. He's got a bit of that Thal energy about him, that pace to break forward, to break through defensive lines and run onto stuff. I'm a little bit concerned that given Boston's great defensive record, but kind of subpar attacking performances, this is going to end up being a 1-0 win or a 0-0 or, you know, just a bit of a boring game. But if there's one thing I'm certain about, it's that when we play, there are goals. And, I mean, look at him. Johnny Howson thinks he's better than me. The gazebo's back. I didn't think I'd get emotional looking at the gazebo, but here we are. Oh, it's my old hunting ground. This is I don't often get this feeling of going back to a club I've managed in Football Manager. Let's hope the players don't hold any kind of similar kind of sense of pride and kind of nostalgia. We need to keep ourselves focused on the game. I want to believe there could be a highlight early on here. Fitzpatrick. This is really nice. Look at this passing. Is there an end product? Carter. Lopez. Sims is through. Sims is through. He puts it just wide of the post. It wouldn't have been offside either. But a minute gone, creating an opportunity like that feels pretty good. Unfortunately, we need to score them, and now they're on the attack. Ball whipped in. Hulls heads it just wide of the post. I can't imagine how it must feel for the fans at this game. You've waited 18 years to take on your rivals again. Two clubs who, for a spell, kind of in the early noughties, went head-to-head on the regular and really built up a rivalry in the old Division 3, which then became League 2. But after Boston's number of relegations, after financial mismanagement, it's kind of fallen into obscurity again, but we're bringing it back to relevance. Anyway, Green bringing it forward to Cottrell, to Sims. Finish that one, Sims. Thank you very much, Ellis. He missed once. He was given a chance. Well, he gave Boston a chance. They've not taken that chance. They've not heeded their warning. He slotted it into the bottom corner. Really, really nicely worked goal. Goal number 8 for him as well. Really enjoying watching us play with the new system. Cottrell as well with another assist to add to his name. These former Premier League youngsters, these players cast to the sides by teams higher up the footballing pyramid, really showing their worth for us here. And a win here would actually be huge. You can see how the league table looks right now. The gap is getting very, very big, very, very quickly. Which I suppose when you're winning every game is just kind of expected to happen. But even so, it's a pleasant surprise as Green... I mean, he's missed an absolute sitter there against his former club. Is he feeling a bit kind of gentle? Does he not want to hurt them? Hurt them, Green. Be mean. You're the machine. Also, they're playing a 5-4-1. Johnny Howson, you are boring, mate. You are boring. I'm going to tell the players I'm far from pleased. Only 1-0. They've got an XG of 0.02. I mean, look at that. This is just, not under me. This would never happen. This would never happen. And I understand they come into the game as underdogs, right? But just try. Try it. Have some fun. Anyway, we're going to make some changes here. I'm actually going to take off Green and bring in YOLO. So one former Boston boy off for another. Elsewhere, Fitzpatrick's been a bit quiet out on the left-hand side. I think we'll bring in Taylor Richards for him. And we'll hold on to our last sub for now. I always feel a bit guilty about Thal being on the bench. Last year's League 2 Player of the Year. Last year's top goal scorer. And I've given him opportunities off the bench, but he's not really shone. There's part of me that wants to bring him on here. I don't think I can justify it. Ellis Sims is having too good of a game. Close it, Jack. Don't fall for any kind of niceness. Bit disappointed that Kwanzaa hasn't even had a shot on goal this game yet that we've seen. You kind of expect him to have one header every single match, but not so far today. Bobby Camwer coming off for Boston, by the way. You can see they've got Mamma Mia in the midfield. Why is Mamma Mia playing? You're not good... I mean, mental. I guess they've got players on international duty and a few injuries, but I've got questions. Mamma Mia and Dromfield in the middle. I'm going to be honest, the rest of the team looks very unfamiliar, which just feels a bit sad. I saw Dermot Mee lurking in their under-23s. And well, I'm going to be honest, that was bloody awful, but not because of us. We tried. We probably should have scored more. Boston United, you are trash. Johnny Howson, you are boring. Boring, boring Boston. I'm not going to complain too much though. Exeter win 2-1, which is huge for them. Elsewhere, did Scunthorpe not play? I guess Scunthorpe haven't actually played, which is why they're dropping down. If they win their game in hand, they will pull the gap to us to 7 points, but we're looking really, really blooming good, everyone. I'm feeling pretty good about where we are in the league right now and how we're doing. Salisbury gets one over on Boston. He's loving it. I mean, all the former Boston players in our team are going to be loving it. I will just quickly show you the Boston under-23s. I mentioned it before, but Dermot Mee is down in the under-23s. I don't know why. Saxon Early's there, Mamma Mia's there. It's kind of actually mad. There's lots of our former players here, but a lot of the players who I would have considered the more important ones have kind of been loaned out. But I think that is purely because of the system they're playing. Because they're only playing with one strikers, because they're not playing with, wide midfielders. There's just certain players like DKM who are just never ever going to get given a shot. And frankly, it's just a bit sad, really, isn't it? I mean, you've ruined it, Johnny. You've ruined my legacy. I hope you get sacked. Although, I don't think you will. I think they're actually quite content being 14th in the league, considering it's their first season back in this division. Anyway, you can see here, just to look at the kind of team stats, Cumming has 7 assists. Cottrell, 4 player of the matches at this point with 7 assists is absolutely insane. A 7.33 average rating, the second best in the league, behind Jarrell Quansah, of course. But no, things are looking superb. We are looking like a team in form, like we've really found our groove. Hopefully we're going to be able to keep it going. In terms of when we're going to be back, it's a fantastic question. There's a temptation to come back for the Scunthorpe game, but given how the league is looking, I'm thinking we look a little further ahead. I think we'll play it by ear. I would love to go on a little run in the FA Cup. We enter in the first round this year. Maybe that's something to keep an eye on, depending on who we get drawn against. But no, I think we'll leave it a bit of a mystery and a bit of a surprise. But barring an absolute travesty, I suspect that we're not going to be in a too different kind of league position to the one we find ourselves in now, in terms of top of the league, going very, very strong. Right now, we look very, very difficult to beat, and plenty of clean sheets, which is definitely something we couldn't have claimed last season. But anyway, folks, that's going to wrap up everything from me today. Just to end the episode, we'll take a look at Sammy York. Sammy York, what are you up to? He's on loan at Hull. I know someone's going to ask in the comments, what happened to Sam York? And they will have missed the end of this video. But if you see that comment in a future episode, let them know that I showed him here. 20 years old, under 21 international for Ireland. He looks very, very good still. I'll be honest and say he doesn't look like he's improved a great deal. I'm really curious to compare him against Green. Well, I don't think I would ever pay 13 million for Green. But when you look at that comparison and the fact that Green is almost 2 years younger, it does raise some questions about the transfer business of Southampton. Of course, he still could have a lot of potential to fulfil, but at 20 years old, I feel like he's stagnated a little bit, dare I say. Although, despite all that, he has played 11 games in the Championship, so who am I to judge? But anyway, folks, that's going to wrap up this video from me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got to the end of the video, make sure to drop a like on it. I will see you guys again very soon. It is me, Jack. We are top of the league. We're going on strong. I'm going to go and make some sandcastles with Lopez, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.